Any other questions? In that case, I have another question for Gittle Trond about the ocean rainforest. Is he still here? Yeah. Yeah. I was wondering, if it came to that point where you would scale up the seaweed production, we're talking about huge amounts and huge fields of ocean that you would use for seaweed production. And my immediate thought was, but wouldn't that, how does it affect the ecosystem in the area? Or can you just suddenly cultivate these amounts of seaweed without it affecting the other life forms in the area? I wonder if you could say something about that.
Yes, it's a good and fair question. As I showed in the slide, it was only using 1% of the total surface. That means that 99% of the surface of that area is still in natural state, meaning that the amount of seaweed compared to other biological activity is at 1%. Furthermore, as long as we use native species to that area, we're not introducing other life forms, and we're not disrupting the natural balance in such way. When you're on the high seas as well, seaweed doesn't naturally grow on the high seas because it needs shallow waters. It grows in the shallow waters. The life forms that feed and live on the seaweed and so on are life forms that generally you will find either in coastal waters or towards the bottom. And when you're at 500 meters depth and we're at the top of the surface, we're actually not in the same biome as the bottom layer is. And at the surface, we're only using again 1%, and we're using species that are native to that area. But of course, there will be some effect, and there is some research that should go into it. But the preliminary conclusions from Fiskerirannsóknarstofan, among others, is that it will have little to no effect, which is in the start bad for us because we can't use it as a researching field right now. But in the end, it will probably be good for us that we are not affecting the environment in that way. The reason is it's an extensive production instead of an intensive production, and there are corollaries to what you have done on land before. Native American native ways of harvesting the land have always been very extensive. The fallow system lets the ocean, or in the other case, the land, grow back before you use it. The problems that we have in the modern society is almost always when you start using an intensive system, because then you're adding a lot more biomass to the area compared to what used to be there. I hope that answered your question.
Will it be possible to fish in the same area?
The only real problem is trawling and large nets, because the installations will be spaced apart, quite far apart, but will long for great distances. You can sail in the passage between it in the same way as you sail in European rivers or you drive on a motorway. But and you can put long line fisheries can coexist with it. But trawling is something that can't be done in the same area. That I'm sorry to say.
Thank you. Any other questions? If there's no more questions, I think we will. There's one question here. Comment.
Just a comment to the definition of sustainability. You mentioned the Brundtland definition, and I think we need to think broader than just environmentally and the biological. The financial part, which has its social impact, because, for example, here in Faroe Islands, and I mean, in order to keep in mind some decentralization and to keep going on the fisheries in the small places, we need to have the social aspect in our mind as well, which again is dependent on the financial. Just that comment.
All right, I think we're going to conclude the session now.